Championships from the Olympic Basin in Montreal, getting set for the start of the junior men's 8.
Are you ready? Go!
We've got Italy at the top of your screen. They are in blue and rowing in lane 6. The United States in lane 5. The Germans are in lane 4. The Russians have lane 3. In lane 2, it is Great Britain and Spain. The crew closest to us in the yellow and black are rowing in lane 1. Doug, what do you expect in this final?
The lanes in this race are seeded. From preliminary rounds, we're expecting that the top two crews in each race should be in lane 3 and 4. In that race, it should be Germany and Russia.
So we'll keep our eyes on lanes 3 and 4, and guess who's leading right now early into the race? It is indeed the Germans in lane 4 and the Russians in lane 3. And once again, Doug, we have no Canadians in this junior men's 8 final.
No, the Canadian junior program still needs some work. As of this time, we don't have an 8 that's competitive with this field.
And we get a good look at the field right now at this stage of the junior men's 8. Still the Germans and the Russians battling for first place, but I've been impressed by the way the United States are rowing.
Well, we just saw the United States. They were rowing much lower than the other crews. They're obviously trying a little different race plan where they're going to come out a little bit lower, row even through the course of the race, and hopefully come through the Germans and the Russians in the later stages of the race.
Doug, what do you mean by rowing lower?
What you're looking at here is the stroke rate of a crew. You can see the Germans here. They're rowing at a stroke rate of about 36 or 37. You change the stroke rate for your boat depending on how fast you want to go at any particular stage in the race.
Let's check the split through 500 meters. You can see the Russians on top, the time of 1:23.57, and you can see just how close the United States and the Germans are to the Russian crew.
You can see the Americans over on the far side. They're still rowing a couple beats lower than the other crews in terms of their stroke rate per minute. And they're moving up on the other crews. That shows signs of good things to come from them in this race.
And just in case you were wondering about those cyclists who are passing by on that path, they are not out for an afternoon ride. Those indeed are the coaches.
Coaches are allowed to ride alongside the crews at this regatta. They're allowed to coach the crews as the race progresses.
As hard as this may be to believe, we have even seen a couple of coaches who run alongside their crews and not ride. The United States seem to have picked it up just a bit, and they are now in the lead.
Well, they've taken over the lead from the Germans and from the Russians. They're looking very smooth.
And smoothness is what rowing in an 8 is really all about. You want to get into that rhythm and establish the smoothness as quickly as you can.
Well, the American stroke rate is still a little bit lower than the other two crews. By rowing as smooth as they are, they're using less effort. They're allowing the boat to move forward in between strokes more than the other crews, and thus being much more efficient than the other two crews.
There's a good look at the Soviet Cox. It is his job to bark out the stroke rate to his crew. Let's check the split now through 1,000 meters. You can see the United States with a time of 2:51.33, and they have a 0.34 second lead. But once again, that lead is being challenged by the crew in lane 4, and that is the German crew. Just part of the large gathering of fans on hand here at the Olympic Basin, really enjoying this race. This is a very close race in the junior men's 8.
It's an excellent race. You can see the Germans and the Americans are battling it out. The Americans still look much smoother than the Germans, although a little less powerful.
And there you can see the back and forth motion for the lead. Lane 5 is the United States. Lane 4 is Germany. It's just going back and forth. And see how the United States boat doesn't seem to be as jerky. It seems a lot smoother.
Well, that is the point. The Germans are rowing a little bit higher. They're moving the boat forward during the stroke, but they're not allowing the boat to move in between strokes the way the Americans are. The Americans, by rowing that smoothly, are allowing the boat to move much more efficiently.
This gives you a good look at the Russian crew and their challenge for second place. The Russians are rowing in lane 3. The United States in lane 5. Again, we'll check the split with 500 meters to go. It's the United States with a time of 4:25.9, and their lead is 0.18 over Germany. And now it looks as if the Germans have gone back on top again.
Well, there's really nothing to call between these two boats. The bow balls are even. They're bouncing back and forth in between. What an excellent race.
The fans are on their feet here at the Olympic Basin, really enjoying this one. Now the United States have gone back in top again. It's the United States followed by Germany and then the Russians as they come down and row through the final few meters. We are going to have a great finish here. This is the German crew. They have been waging a battle over a distance of 2,000 meters with the U.S. And now the U.S. are on top. It looks as if the U.S. are going to pull this one out. The United States pulling it out now through the final few meters of this 2,000-meter final for the junior men. It is the United States with about a half a boat length lead on the Germans. The United States coming up towards the finish line. It looks as if the U.S. are going to pull it out. Now the Germans have picked it up once again. Oh, what a great finish this is going to be in the junior men's final. Look at this. The United States on top. The Germans closing just a bit. The U.S. at the line take the gold medal. Germany comes in to finish in second place, and it's the Russians winding up in third. Oh, yes, what a great win by the United States. A very dramatic victory in this junior men's 8th final. Their time, 5:47.06. There's the white flag to indicate that is a good race. The gold to the United States, 5:47.06. The silver to Germany.